Hello and welcome to LBC Math Methods. Today we're going to learn how to add fractions with different denominators. In the past you may have just added fractions with the same denominators, but what happens when you have denominators that are different? For example, we'll start pretty simple here. 1/2 plus 1/3. Well, how do I start? I do know that I must have common denominators, but otherwise we're just adding two pieces of different wholes. How do I find a common denominator when I've already been dealt two fractions with different denominators, though? Well, we're going to need to adjust our fractions a little bit here. And the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to find a least common denominator. In this case, we'll be looking for a least common multiple, or LCM, of 2 and 3. Now, I could set up a chart to figure this out, but I think we can see in our heads that as soon as I multiply 3 by 2, I'm trying to find that next multiple. The product, 6, is going to be divisible by 2, which would then make that our least common multiple, and in turn our least common denominator. So our least common multiple is going to be 6. So if we look at this problem again, I want both of these fractions to have a denominator of 6. So I'm actually just going to go ahead and write that here. I'm going to begin writing a new set of fractions for us that will eventually, these will translate to here. Now, if I change my denominator to 6 here, what operation did I have to perform to get from here to here? Well, in this case, to get from 2 to 6, I had to multiply by 3. Well, that's great, I acknowledge that, but am I done? No, because 1 over 6 is not the same thing as 1/2. I need these fractions to be equivalent if I'm going to have a common denominator. So whatever I do, I also am going to have to do to the numerator. And I know this works because when you multiply anything by 3 over 3, 3 over 3 will simplify to 1, and anything multiplied 1 will retain its same value. So even though this will end up looking different, it really retains the same value in the fraction. So 3 times 1 is going to equal 3. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the other fraction. If I am going from 3 to 6, I need to multiply by 2. And if I multiply by 2 on the bottom, I need to do the same thing to the top. So 1 times 2 will give me 2. And at this point, this is very familiar territory for us, adding fractions with the same denominator. We know we are adding two pieces of a similar whole, a common denominator. So I know my denominator is going to remain the same in my answer. And at this point, we're just adding the numerator, giving us an answer of 5/6. And that will not simplify any further, so that is our answer. And there you have it, adding fractions with different denominators.